close your eyes and imagine the Earth 74,000 years ago, a world without cities, without machines, without the noise of engines. Humanity exists, but only as scattered bands of hunter-gatherers. Life is fragile, balanced on a thin edge. And then, in the far distance, on the island we now call Sumatra, the ground begins to tremble. Trees shiver, birds take to the air in frantic bursts, and deep beneath the Earth's crust, a titanic pressure builds. In the space of hours, the sky turns a color you've never seen before. The ground groans as if the planet itself is in pain. Then, a sound like the tearing of the heavens. It is the moment the Toba Supervolcano erupts, an explosion so vast, so incomprehensibly powerful, that it will nearly wipe humanity from the earth. The land shakes violently, not just in Sumatra, but for hundreds, even thousands of miles around. The sea convulses with massive waves. The air fills with ash before anyone even has time to look up. You don't know it yet, but what's happening here is rewriting the fate of your species. If you were standing there, you would see the heart of the mountain ripped away, hurled into the atmosphere. Columns of ash climb into the stratosphere, higher than any storm cloud. It's not a single burst, it's a continuous roaring. Like the earth is exhaling centuries of fury in one terrible breath. The eruption releases an estimated 2,800 cubic kilometers of material. That's enough to bury the entire United States under a layer of ash more than 2 feet deep. Lava fountains so tall they pierce the clouds rain molten rock across the island. Within hours, forests are gone, rivers are clogged with boiling mud, and the sky is a churning swirl of black and orange. The heat is unimaginable. You can't stand anywhere near it. Trees ignite spontaneously from radiant heat alone. Ash, as fine as flour, begins to fall, not gently, but in suffocating sheets that coat every surface, clog every breath. For people living hundreds of miles away, the sky darkens as if night has come early. Days later, even those living thousands of miles away will see the same dark sky. The Earth's upper atmosphere has become a mirror, scattering sunlight back into space. And then comes the long winter. We call it a volcanic winter, a global climate catastrophe triggered not by ice, but by fire. The eruption injects hundreds of millions of tons of sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, forming a veil of tiny droplets that reflect sunlight away. Global temperatures plunge by as much as 5 to 9 degrees Celsius. This isn't a chill you can simply put on a coat to escape. Summers vanish, growing seasons collapse. If you were a human alive, then food would become the rarest thing in the world. Plants wither under weak sunlight, herds of animals migrate or starve, and humans, already living close to the edge, are pushed into desperation. Many scientists believe the population of Homo sapiens could have fallen to just a few thousand breeding individuals worldwide. Imagine that. The entire human race fitting inside a single football stadium. But Toba's story begins long before this day. The supervolcano had been growing in silence for hundreds of thousands of years. Under the island of Sumatra, a massive chamber of magma expanded slowly, fed by the relentless forces of plate tectonics. The Indo-Australian plate was diving beneath the Eurasian plate, melting rock and building up pressure in a vast molten reservoir. For millennia, the mountain sat quietly, covered in forests, home to rivers and wildlife. And then, without warning, geologically speaking, the chamber reached its breaking point. When it failed catastrophically. If you were to stand there in the years after the eruption, you wouldn't see a mountain anymore. Instead, you'd be looking at a caldera, a giant hole in the earth more than 100 kilometers long and 30 kilometers wide. Today, that caldera holds Lake Toba, the largest volcanic lake in the world. The eruption's fingerprints can be found everywhere: thick layers of ash in India, traces in Greenland's ice cores, disruptions in plant pollen records across Africa. It's as if the Earth's own diary records a single traumatic event, visible from pole to pole. For the next decade, sunlight remains muted. The world's skies have a milky haze, and sunsets burn red and purple. Glaciers advance. The air tastes faintly of sulfur. In some regions, rainfall patterns shift dramatically. Crops fail for years. Entire ecosystems change. Some never return to their former state. For humans, this is an age of survival against impossible odds. Those who endure must adapt quickly, learning to exploit new food sources, conserve scarce resources, and cooperate in ways they never had to before. These survivors will be the ancestors of everyone alive today. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Catastrophe doesn't just destroy. It also shapes. Some scientists argue that the genetic bottleneck caused by Toba's eruption may have accelerated human evolution. With small, isolated groups cut off from each other, genetic changes spread quickly. Over thousands of years, these changes could have sharpened our intelligence, creativity, and adaptability. In other words, without Toba's devastation, the humans we are today might never have existed. Even now, we can see echoes of Toba's fury. Lake Toba is still there, serene on the surface, but beneath its waters lies a sleeping giant. The magma chamber has refilled, though scientists believe it won't erupt at the same scale for hundreds of thousands of years. Still, smaller eruptions remain possible, and supervolcanoes elsewhere, like Yellowstone, remind us that Toba was not unique. The planet has the power to hit reset on life at any time. Modern science allows us to reconstruct Toba's eruption in remarkable detail. We know the height of its ash cloud, the spread of its fallout, even the likely sounds it made. We can simulate the cooling effect it had on the climate. Yet, for all our data, the human side of the story remains largely a mystery. What was it like to watch the sun fade away day after day, wondering if it would ever return? How did it feel to see your world's animals vanish, your food stores dwindle, your family disappear? Perhaps the most haunting thought is this: the world we know today, our cities, our cultures, our technologies, only exist because a few thousand humans managed to endure that darkest of ages. If they had failed, the Earth might still be lush and alive, but utterly without us. And so, Toba is more than just a geological event. It's a reminder of how fragile we are, and how astonishingly resilient. It's proof that our species has faced the abyss before, and somehow, against all odds, found a way back. The sky did clear in time. The plants returned. The herds multiplied again. And from those small, scattered survivors came the billions who walk the earth now. You and I are the children of those who refused to die. So tonight, as you drift to sleep, imagine that world, a world of silence, ash, and cold. And remember the fire that almost ended us. And remember, too, the warmth that kept us alive. Because in the grand story of humanity, sometimes the darkest nights forge the brightest dawns.